Good morning. Welcome to the premium and public video discussion for February 8th, 2016. It is a crazy couple of hours and couple of days that are on the way here with one storm, one powerful winter storm here that is just going to miss to the east of the region. The benchmark for our winter storms is right here. And this storm is going to pass to our south. But notice all this lifting here, okay? Long Island, you're going to get clocked, and you're going to have blizzard conditions at times. Same thing with eastern Connecticut. It is going to get nasty. In southern New England, not pretty. The good news for the New Jersey coast, although we're dealing with coastal flooding right now, is that we're going to miss the brunt of this storm, and the same thing is going to set up for New York City. However, I'm watching a couple of trends with the potential for some mesoscale banding right along the New Jersey coast and up through New York City that could produce some light to moderate snowfall at times through today into the early evening rush hour. And then we have this clipper right here. Now, what's really interesting here is that this clipper is basically kicking this storm out of here. Imagine if this clipper was 6 hours later, this storm would have been much closer to the coast, and then you get the clipper coming in with the redevelopment along the coast with the high latitude blocking. So this could have been far worse than what we're going to be dealing with over the next 66 hours, thankfully. But we still have a lot of impacts to deal with, and it is a complicated system. So first we have this storm, we're going to deal with this storm, and then we have the clipper here. Now, what's key to remember is that while this storm is exiting and this storm is approaching, we're still going to have lifting over the region, which you're starting to see right here. See this light blue? And that's going to lead to widely scattered snow showers in between these two systems while they're transitioning. So for some locations, you'll get scattered snow showers for the next 3 days on and off, especially if you're in northeastern Pennsylvania or northwestern New Jersey. You're going to miss the brunt of both of these storms. But for locations like Philadelphia, your storm's really tomorrow with the clipper. For New York City, kind of missing the brunt of both of these storms, but you still get some measurable snowfall with the first storm. First of all, we'll take a look at the observations here. Now our temperatures are near freezing or falling to freezing over Connecticut and Long Island. They're clearly above freezing along the coast in the upper 30s. These temperatures are going to fall off into the mid 30s. We're pretty much seeing the highs for today over these locations as that precipitation builds in and colder air works in from the northeast. So we're pretty much seeing our high for today, and then our temperatures are going to fall off, and any type of drizzle that's showing up right now along the New Jersey coast is going to change over to a very light snowfall. Why is that happening? I'll show you that in a moment. On the radar, notice some interesting trends. You can see the snow building down. This is from WeatherTap, excellent source for weather data, well worth the $9 a month. Now you can see the cold air. You see how the radar is showing snow developing now over New Jersey. You still got some rain here. I'm going to show you what's happening here at the lower levels, mid levels of the atmosphere as to why this is occurring. This band right here is going to be pushing into Long Island, and you're going to see heavier and heavier snow start to form over eastern Connecticut and also eastern Long Island. And these bands are going to be rather intense. In fact, let me show you this data right here. This shows you exactly how intense this precipitation is. Now you see these moderate bands here. What we're going to watch out for is that this area right here is just going to be dry for the most part. A few flurries here and there, but no big deal, because this area is caught in between rising air here and rising air here, so you have sinking air here. What we're watching for is a deformation band trying to set up right along the New Jersey coast and right over New York City. Okay, and the reason why is because we're having convergence of lifting trying to develop, and convergence of thermal gradients and wind. So we're going to watch this very carefully, the convergence and stretching in the atmosphere in this area right here for some light to moderate snowfall. That's why I have 2 to 4 inches in place right along the coast here. The main story, though, the main event is clearly going to be over southern New England, eastern Connecticut, and Long Island with some moderate to heavy snowfall. Now, why is that the case? Well, take a look at this. First of all, here's our surface temperatures, right? Now, as you can see, we're clearly above freezing here along the coast, but those temperatures are falling with a north-northeasterly wind driving that cold air right down the coast. Take a look at 925 millibars. Earlier on, it was much warmer. Now what we're seeing is that very cold air being driven south, okay? So we're getting already a pretty nice thermal gradient and instability right along the coast and over the Atlantic Ocean here with the much colder air aloft, and that colder air is starting to get mixed down towards the surface. But even more importantly, we're starting to develop what's called frontogenesis, okay? Think of it like a big front in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And what that basically leads to is intensification of heavy snowfall in this area right here. Now, how close is this storm to be more of a significant threat for New Jersey? Well, if this frontogenesis was just an inch closer to the coast, well, let's say a mile closer to the coast, then what you would end up with is a lot of these bands being able to push and redevelop right along the New Jersey coast. Right now, that does not look like that's going to happen. As you can see, it's kind of a wall here as far as that frontogenesis developing is clearly focusing over Long Island and eastern Connecticut. So that's why you're going to start to see that real intense snowfall over eastern Long Island and eastern Connecticut because you're getting this colder air punching south and it's creating a thermal gradient. You can even see that even better at 850 millibars. Here you can see that real tight gradient setting up here. So we'll watch the storm carefully over the next several hours. That cold air is going to get mixed down to the surface. Any rain that's falling is going to change over to snow. For the New Jersey coast, watch out for that coastal flooding on through this evening. We're passing the first high tide now. We're going to be dealing with the second high tide later on this afternoon, and that is going to be pretty nasty. So we use some caution and be prepared. Okay, never take coastal flooding lightly. It's always a serious situation. So that's our first storm. Then we have our second storm, right? So as far as the snowfall accumulations are expected, again, the main story is out here in eastern Long Island, eastern Connecticut. 5 to 9 inches of snow is expected. Blizzard-like conditions can be expected as well with those strong winds. 2 to 4 inches over central Long Island, central Connecticut, back down through the New Jersey coast. 1 to 3 inches over interior southern New Jersey, through New York City and into central Connecticut as well. Very tight banding here. The gradient between nothing and heavy snow is going to be pretty tight with this storm. And that's pretty much it for this first storm. Now the second storm. The second storm is an Alberta Clipper. Okay. Now this Alberta Clipper, as it's diving towards the region, is expected to redevelop off the New Jersey coast. So what we're expecting here from the NAM guidance here is that this precipitation, this is from Storm Vista Weather Models, an excellent model weather site, well worth the $30 a month, very much. This area here is going to transition towards the coast. And what's that going to lead to is that for tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening, a period of moderate to heavy snow over southeastern Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia metro, and towards the central and southern New Jersey coast. I think this is going to clip southern Long Island, but it's not really going to have too much of an impact. Your storm is today, not so much tomorrow. Tomorrow's kind of like the, after dessert. It's not going to be that impressive. But for central and southern New Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania, this storm is more for you. And so what we're expecting with this storm with the Clipper is that an inverted trough is going to develop, and that's going to build back towards, let's say, Lancaster County and York. And that's going to lead to a period of moderate to heavy snowfall, especially tomorrow afternoon and evening into the early morning hours on Wednesday. Generally looking at a trace to an inch as you head up towards northeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, northern New Jersey, really, and much of Connecticut. 1 to 3 inches is going to be in this horseshoe band. Now I created this horseshoe band because I think what we're going to see is a focused area of lifting. And it's going to be a tight gradient, and where you are to the north and south of this gradient, snowfall amounts will be 1 inch, 2 inches, at most 3 inches. As you get a little bit closer to that gradient, 2 to 4 inches can be expected. As you're heading out towards Lancaster, New York, I'm leaning more towards that 4-inch amount. As you head east towards the Philadelphia metro, this is where we're going to see that 4 to 8 inch potential, especially during the evening hours tomorrow, focused over the Philadelphia metro and central and southern New Jersey. Most locations, I think, will hit that 6-inch mark. I think 8 inches is going to be more of an isolated occurrence, but we'll keep an eye on them. So that clears out, and then for the rest of the week, we get cold Arctic air, brutally cold Arctic air, where our temperatures just absolutely go nowhere. We're talking about high temperatures Thursday in the upper 20s to lower 30s, on Friday, mid to upper 20s. So it's going to be brutally cold. And then we're going to have to watch out for this weekend, as some model guidance is pointing out the potential for another winter storm. But let's get rid of these two first, and then we'll deal with that one as we move forward. So it's going to be a very active period. We'll continue to keep you updated on what is going on with the latest on these storms, and hopefully we'll be able to move through and be safe out there. Thank you for following NYNJPA Weather, and as always, thank you for being a premium member.